The White House threatens the House of Representatives following the passage of the massive foreign aid bill that just got passed in the Senate. How's it going, guys? Welcome back to UnwokeThoughts. Tonight, we are talking about the response of the White House and Joe Biden to the passage of this massive spending bill that just got pushed through the Senate. Now, Speaker Mike Johnson and many of the House conservatives have expressed extreme opposition to this bill, and it is effectively dead on arrival. As it stands now, it is dead on arrival in the House of Representatives. But that is not stopping Joe Biden and the White House doing everything that they can to make sure that the House of Representatives and the Republicans know that, hey, if you oppose this bill, if you don't allow it to go through the House, we are watching you, and you are going to pay for what you do. Listen to Joe Biden and listen to his language, guys. It is chilling what he is saying. Watch.
The bill provides urgent funding for Ukraine so it can keep defending itself against Putin's vicious onslaught. We've all seen the terrible stories in recent weeks. Ukrainian soldiers out of artillery shells, Ukrainian units rationing rounds of ammunition to defend themselves, Ukrainian families worried that the next Russian strike will permanently plunge them into darkness or worse. This bipartisan bill sends a clear message to Ukrainians and to our partners and to our allies around the world. America can be trusted. America can be relied upon. And America stands up for freedom. We stand strong for our allies. We never bow down to anyone, and certainly not to Vladimir Putin. So let's get on with this. Remember, the United States pulled together a coalition of nearly 50 nations to support Ukraine. We unified NATO, expanded it. We can't walk away now. That's what Putin's betting on. He just flatly said that. Supporting this bill is standing up to Putin. Opposing it is playing into Putin's hands. As I've said before, the stakes in this fight extend far beyond Ukraine. If we don't stop Putin's appetite for power and control in Ukraine, he won't limit himself just to Ukraine. And the cost for America and our allies and partners is going to rise. For Republicans in Congress who think they can oppose funding for Ukraine and not be held accountable, history is watching. History is watching. History is watching. Failure to support Ukraine at this critical moment will never be forgotten.
History is watching. History is watching. History is watching. Wow. What does he mean by that? That sounds pretty ominous. But notice, guys, notice his language. Once again, what are they doing? They're providing this dichotomy. They're propping up Putin as this big bad wolf. Look, if you don't support this bill, you are supporting Putin. He's a bad guy. So you can't support the bad guy, and we must not allow Ukraine to get run over by Putin. And I don't think that his language really has the effect that he wants it to have, because Tucker Carlson interviewed Putin, and Putin said that he was open to a peace deal with the United States, but the United States are not open to a peace deal with Russia, apparently. That's what it sounds like. So it's almost like this war is actually not about making sure that Ukrainians aren't dying and that Ukrainians aren't run over by Putin, because I think everybody knows at this point that Ukraine winning a war against Russia is a fool's errand. It can't happen. It won't happen. It's not even possible at this point. But that doesn't stop them from sending $60 more billion from the United States to Ukraine in order to fund this war. And then the office of the White House followed up with a response after Joe Biden's press conference on this bill, and they said, to recap, Speaker Johnson said he wouldn't pass a national security bill without a border bill. Well, that should be what happens at the very least. And I like how they're phrasing this, a national security bill. No, this is a foreign aid bill. That's what it is. This is not a national security bill. Notice how these Democrats, these far leftists, they use this language to try to frame things the way they want things to be framed. But once again, I feel like a broken record. Why are we funding foreign countries before we fund our own country? We fix our own country's problem, like the most pressing issue, the border. But it continues. President Biden and a bipartisan group of senators, right, bipartisan, yeah, maybe, yes, group of rhino senators, including Republican of Louisiana, John Kennedy, the one I was most disappointed in. I never in a million years saw him voting for this disastrous bill, but they negotiated a border deal. Speaker Johnson rejected the border deal. Like, to call that a border deal when the provisions codified into law, illegal immigration? No. Well, just because you put the name border deal on it does not mean it does anything to help or close the border to stem the flow of millions of illegal immigrants coming over the border, because it didn't. It didn't, I assure you. The Senate passed a national security bill. There it is. There's that phrase again, that term. No, the Senate passed a foreign aid bill without a border deal. Yeah, because it never was about the border. It was about the foreign aid, the billions in foreign aid all along, and we all know it. It is disappointing. But Speaker Johnson says he won't bring the national security bill, there it is again, for a vote because it doesn't include a border deal. Well, he shouldn't. And everybody needs to call their representatives and let them know that this must not pass. But the White House continues, make it make sense. Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. Make it make sense. These Democrats are projectocrats. They're projecting on you, saying like, oh, no, you're being crazy. You don't want to pass a national security bill? You're crazy. You don't want to feel safe? You want Vladimir Putin, the bad guy, the super mega bad guy? You want him to just destroy Ukraine? Wow, make it make sense. You are nuts, America. That's what they're saying. That's what they think of you. They think you're stupid. But evil Senator Chuck Schumer is rejoicing. He is just giddy about the fact that this bill is passed. Look at him, raising his hands, pumping his fists in absolute overjoyment. He loves this. And he had a statement following the passing of this bill. Listen to this.
Today, after not just a long night and weekend, but after months of work, we can say it's been worth it. Today we witnessed one of the most historic and consequential bills passed the Senate, a bill that so greatly impacts not just our national security, not just the security of our allies, but also the security of Western democracy as we know it. Today the Senate keeps its word to Ukrainians in need, desperate need, of supplies and ammunition, to innocent Palestinian civilians in need, so much need, of relief, to Israelis in need of support, and to U.S. service members on patrol in the Indo-Pacific, the Red Sea, and around the world. With the strong bipartisan vote in the Senate, it's clear that if Speaker Johnson brings this bill to the House floor, it will pass with that same bipartisan support.
Wow, guys, notice him so excited about all of the hard work that the Senate did. They stayed up like all night to get this bill passed, and he's pumping his fist, overjoyed. He's so happy he got all these billions of dollars passed to go overseas, and then he lists off the recipients of this money, and he's talking about these countries that need this money so desperately. And you know what's weird? You know what's odd? There's a country that is left off of this list. It's weird. The United States seems to be forgotten in this list of countries that so desperately need the support of their representatives right now, of their government right now, to fix problems here in the home country. He left that off the list. It's very interesting, right? I wonder why that is. But Chuck Schumer is not the only one who is excited about the passage of this bill. This is Vladimir Lazinsky, yes, of Ukraine, who just won the lottery. And he has given a statement following the passage of the foreign aid bill. And you can see he is trying to stay calm and not show how excited he really is, guys. I'm going to play a small clip for you because most of this, or all of this, is in Russian. But listen to this. Secondly, a strategically important vote took place today in the United States. The Senate voted in favor of our package of further support for our country, our warriors, our efforts and democracy in general. I'm grateful for every senator for making a morally strong choice. The choice is important not just for Ukraine, but for all nations whose independence is a target for Russian attacks, either now or in the future. Attacks planned for the coming years. Putin has never intended to limit himself to Ukraine alone. His goals are far broader. So guys, listen to the extreme language that Zelensky is using here. He's saying that Putin and Russia, they're not just going to stop at Ukraine. They're going to go far further than that. Yes, they are evil. They're the big bad wolf, and Putin is the super mega bad guy. And you must send us billions now, or he is going to take over the world. He's using this language to provide this sense of urgency that the House must pass this bill. They must do it now. They must send us these billions now, or Putin is going to roll through us, and then they're going to start chipping away at those NATO countries, which are the United States allies. That's what he's insinuating here. Even though Putin said to Tucker Carlson in the interview that he doesn't have any plans to do this. Now, I'm not saying that Putin is somehow the epitome of honesty, but I think it's interesting how they keep propping him up and keep making the language more extreme to the point where they are saying that he is going to start invading other countries like Poland and other NATO countries. And it won't stop there, guys. It'll get more and more extreme until they get what they want. But Nancy Pelosi, of course, also heavily supports this bill. She is falling all over herself that it passed the House. And she has decided that Americans want to hear her perspective when it comes to this bill. And she's going to come forth and urge House Republicans and the House of Representatives in general to pass this bill because apparently that helps.
The Speaker Johnson has said he will not bring it up.
Our leader, Hakeem Jeffries, said that he has not ruled out using a discharge petition, which is a parliamentary maneuver to try to bring a bill to the floor, and also to just see where all of the Republicans are on this, because we've had over 300 votes for assistance to Ukraine, but strong bipartisan support for that in the Congress. So this isn't a partisan issue in most respects, but it is. You saw the other day, they brought up two bills they didn't have the votes for.
What do you think of Speaker Johnson?
So, guys, of course, all the usual suspects have come out in full force to urge everybody, especially the House of Representatives, to support this bill, because the House of Representatives is our last line of defense against this disastrous legislation that we cannot allow to be passed by any means. By any means, this cannot be passed. But what do you guys think about this? What do you guys think about the White House and Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi threatening the House of Representatives, particularly the Republicans, that they must pass this bill or else? What do you guys think about this? What do you guys think of Chuck Schumer coming out all giddy and so happy that they worked so hard to get this bill finally passed? They worked through the night, those poor senators. What do you think about that? Let me know what you think of all this down below in the comments. Like and subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it. But until then, I will see you on the next one.